Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Morning, Jay.
Good morning, Jenny. How you doing?
Did you see them Clippers last night? My God, Doc's got a stanker going on down in the basement.
No, he doesn't.
Staples, yes, he does. Here they come.
Jenny, I don't know if you know this, but when was the last time you heard the best player in the world not be in the MVP conversation through the first quarter of the season?
Huh? We talking about Kawhi?
Think about it. You talking about, we talking about it. If he's the guy that you said he is, we absolutely should be talking about it.
Well, we will in just a couple of minutes.
We will. We have a packed show today. Should the NBA allow the Rockets and Spurs to replay the final 8 minutes of their game last night? You got to hear this. And is Tom Brady really having a better season than Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers?
Really
but first, we are going to start with our friend Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, because he keeps talking. Jerry Jones has publicly said that Jason Garrett will remain the Cowboys head coach through this season. What Jerry has not done is say what will happen with Garrett and the Cowboys after this year. During his weekly radio interview, Jerry opened up how he views Jason Garrett. Take a listen.
You can say a guy that's been coaching 10 years should have a Super Bowl. You want to list the thousands of coaches that don't have the Super Bowl or the equivalent on it that have been coaching 10 years? And do you want to list how many numbers there are that have multiple Super Bowls that have been coaching 10 years? My point is, it's a high bar. But they're qualified people. Jason Garrett is one of them. In my opinion, Jason Garrett will be coaching in the NFL next year.
You catch that last part? Shannon, how do you interpret what Jerry said?
I'm interpreting just like everybody else is interpreting it, Skip, and just like Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, your services will no longer be required after this season. He will be coaching, just not here. Because, Skip, he could have said, hey, I have the utmost, most profound respect for Jason Garrett. As he alluded, I can give you a long list of coaches that's been coaching 10 plus years that doesn't have a Super Bowl. And I can give you a list of coaches that did and have Super Bowls. But I think very highly of Jason, and I think he'll be because remember, Skip, he kept dropping nuggets. Jason will be a very sought-after commodity. Okay? If you got him, you like that commodity, said commodity, why are you worried about if somebody else would like it or someone else would have it? Skip, we knew it was going to come to this. When he walked to that podium at the NFL Combine in February and he says, I'm not extending Jason Garrett, we knew what was going to happen. Because, as you mentioned, Jason Garrett has been the same coach from the day he stepped into that Cowboys sideline. This is what he does. He's not rah-rah. He's not motivating. He's not anything. And I guess Jerry thought, well, if I dangle this carrot, you're coaching for your contract, you're coaching for your coaching career here in Dallas, he will change. But, Skip, that's all he knows. I mean, you can only coach, you can only do what you know how to do. I mean, wide receivers, to go ask a wide receiver all of a sudden, now, this game you're going to start at quarterback. Well, he hadn't played quarterback. He's been a wide receiver, so he knows how to play that. Well, Jason Garrett is a even keel, very stoic. He showed good job, guy. Pat him on the butt when he come off the field. Skip, what Jerry basically said, I'm going to have me a new coach, but he's going to be in the same vein as the old coach, egoless. So when I step on his, I need him to say the owner has every right to be upset and to criticize me publicly, which Jerry has done on numerous occasions to that man. Jason Garrett deserves better. He will be far better off. But Jerry is never going to get the coach that could give him or as close to guarantees, because you know, Skip, you covered this sports too long. There are no guarantees in sports. That's why we like it. That's why we like them, Skip. You know, they call it.
Why we don't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with your team.
Yeah.
Skip, when you publicly and openly second-guess your coach, when you blatantly and openly criticize your coach publicly, that's the beginning of the end. I've never seen an owner do this before.
I haven't either. Not like this.
Not like this.
No.
So, Skip, he's basically saying, y'all keep asking me, I'm gonna do it in a nice roundabout way. He'll be, somebody be lucky to have him, but he's not gonna be back in Dallas next year. And Jerry just basically said that in a whole bunch of words.
You make a bunch of good points. and I'm about to drop the hammer on my point. I'm about to unleash. There is so much I'm sick and tired about watching these Dallas Cowboys at now 6-6. But the one member of this organization I am the sickest of,
I bet you ain't gonna
and
say
I am the tiredest of,
I bet you ain't gonna say it,
is the owner or general manager.
Jerry, you hear that?
I am so sick and tired of him playing to the crowd because he knows the crowd is on hair trigger. What are you going to say next, Jerry?
Hanging on every word.
Yeah, well, what's next? Oh, does that mean you're going to fire him or keep him? Fire him or keep him? Fire him or keep him? Every day after day after day. And it takes the onus off and the focus off and the blame off of the man who probably deserves no, not probably, does deserve the largest portion of the blame for 6-6, and that is Jerry Jones.
Yes.
He's the one who, I believe, overpaid Zeke. I believe he overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence. I believe he overpaid the entire offensive line. I believe he has kept Jason Garrett at least 6 years too long, and we're still going back and forth day after day after day. Keep him, fire him, keep him, fire him. Which is it, Jerry? Oh, wait a second. Maybe you're the problem, Jerry. This is the classic moment when I wish Jerry Jones could be fired. Obviously, that can't happen, but I wish that he were the equivalent of an elected official that we could vote out of office. I wish Cowboy Nation, anybody who had the credentials to be a true lifelong Cowboy fan, got a vote. And we could just vote him out, right? Because the truth is, I think he would have been voted out a long time ago. Yeah. And this was another classic case of a moment when he should just be voted out. The last man I wanted to hear from yesterday was Gerald Wayne Jones Jr., because this team has enough problems without him creating another distraction for this team. And this is nothing but Jerry's ego talking. This is look, and we're falling right into the trap, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. Blame us too for reacting, but you almost have to react to this because they're still relevant. They still have, as I said yesterday, this is the damnedest dynamic I've ever encountered in my history of covering your league and your sport. The Eagles somehow rendered them relevant again and rendered Jerry relevant again by falling on their faces in Miami. That's the only reason we're having this conversation is they reopened the door for Jerry to run through. Because what did Fox Bet say? They still have a 60% chance of winning the division? The Cowboys did. Yes. But they didn't until Philly went and lost to Miami. You're exactly right. Because I thought Philly was just going to parade to the division championship. They had the easiest schedule left in the National Football League, starting with the Dolphins, the easiest game of their 5 left. Right. And they lost it. And all of a sudden, it allows the Dallas Cowboys to lose at, obviously. They lost to Buffalo at home. But I mean, they could go lose at. They could lose at Chicago. Right. And then they could come home and lose to the Rams. And they're still afloat. Right. And it doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter whether they win or lose the next 2 games. All that matters is they have to go win at Philadelphia. Correct. And they have to come home and beat the Redskins. Correct. And then they'll be undefeated in the division, and they will get a home playoff game. Correct. So now I have to put up with, as a lifelong Cowboy fan, an owner who honestly has a whole bunch of Antonio Brown in him. What do we say about Antonio? He is a victim of social media. Antonio still doesn't get the fact that because he thinks that every time I post, Twitter or Instagram, the whole sports world says, did you see what Antonio just said about Robert Kraft? And yet Antonio doesn't understand that every time he does post, he lessens his chances of ever playing again in the National Football League, right? Right. Jerry Jones is the same way, except Jerry doesn't even know what Twitter or Instagram is. Right. All Jerry knows is that all he has to do is snap his fingers and he'll have a microphone at his lips. Hinge on everything he says. Okay? Yep. And all he knows is he's got his own radio show. Does any owner, you've said this before, does any owner address the media after every game before the coach speaks? No. No, nobody does. Nobody. Nobody in the history of this game has ever done what Jerry Jones does. Did Jerry do that when you was covering the team? Did he do that when Jimmy was there? Yep. He did? He addressed it? Because I was trying to go back. I don't think he did, Skip. Huh. Man, I was there for every one of those games, and it's kind of a blur to me, but I don't know if he did it before Jimmy, but he would always be available. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure he did. He would be available. Maybe it wasn't Now it's become like clockwork where the media is trained to know, oh, we got to run and find Jerry before Jason speaks, right?
And they find Skip. He speaks before the players. At least let the players and the coaches tell you what's going on, what happened.
Okay.
But that's not.
And how many owners in this league have ever had their own radio show?
No.
It's a gig, that he does once a week.
Right.
None?
Because most of
I don't know any.
Most owners, I can only Jerry actually have his, but I can only think of one other owner that would probably even want to have one, and that would be Al Davis. Because most of the guys tend to stay in the background, and they don't really have anything interesting to say. Fans don't really care what the owner has to say. It's not like he's playing, he's coaching, calling plays, or anything like that, Skip. So fans normally, but this guy's unique.
Listen, I covered Al Davis. He rarely spoke.
Rarely spoke.
And he rarely would return my phone call unless he had something he needed to get out there.
Correct.
And that one night at camp that I was there, when he called me over to tell me, you know what happened? He's talking about the Tuck rule play.
Right.
He says, you know what happened? You know who got on the phone in New York, don't you? Paul Tagliabue got on the phone.
He believed that. He went to his grave believing that the NFL had it in for him, and they reversed that for him.
Okay. But he wanted to tell me that, so he did this. He called me over to tell me after a training camp practice, the sun was going down up there in Northern California.
Wow.
And yet, could I get him on the phone? Did he have a radio show? No. Did he speak after games? Never.
No.
Never, ever. He disappeared. I mean, Al Davis was pretty much a ghost.
Right.
Right?
Unless he wanted to fire somebody like he did Lane Kiffin, and he called up there and did a pinpoint, Skip. He pointed out, we did this and he did that. When then Lane Kiffin trotted Janikowski out to try the 80-yard field goal. That probably was the end of it right there.
That was it. So I will bet you that Jerry Jones spent some time the night before yesterday morning. We'll see, that was Tuesday, so Monday night. I will bet you he spent some time working on this cryptic line of his.
Of course.
Just so he could get Shannon Sharpe to say, well, we know what it means.
Yeah.
Jason's gone. And we can get somebody else to say, no, maybe he means Jason's going to be a Cowboy next year. Maybe it works both ways. I will bet you that Jerry Jones was chuckling before his radio gig yesterday, like, watch this. I will drive them all crazy. I will drive them into a media tizzy after my radio show where they will all be wondering exactly what I'm trying to say here. And I don't care what he's trying to say, because you can argue, well, he's trying to create a little more creative locker room tension. They don't need that right now. The point is, Jason Garrett is going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys for the rest of this year.
Correct.
Because Philly ensured that.
Right.
And I don't think Jerry would have fired him anyway.
I don't either.
But the point is, now they're still afloat. They're still alive all the way until December 22nd. And that game will determine everything.
Skip, Jerry wants all the credit with none of the responsibility of blame.
No blame.
Skip, we went to my sophomore year, we went to Morehouse. We got beat 13-7. And Coach Davis was in the locker room, who was our coach at the time, and he's sitting there. He says, I'm not even mad at you guys that you lost. He said, I'm mad at me because I brought you sorry mofos up here. Jerry Jones, you should be mad at yourself. You hired him.
He did.
And you kept him on the staff.
He did.
Even after he went 5-3, 8-8, 8-8, and you kept him.
And 8-8 again.
Yes.
You won 3 8-8s in a row.
And you kept him. So I don't know what you expect. Like you said, he has, what he said, Skip, he and Jason have equity together. Football equity. That's what I think he said, football equity. He played for me. He was an assistant under me.
He even used the phrase, we've had a football life together, as if he was dropping a hint. Yeah. NFL Network, why don't you do a football life on Jerry and Jason, right?
Now he would love if they did a football life on him.
Yeah.
Like they did that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they did one on Al Davis. I'm almost certain they did.
Okay.
Skip, Jerry, in order for you to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to hire someone with a backbone. And if you hire someone with a backbone, they're going to have to Skip, again, like you say, like Antonio, Jerry don't like when people tell him what he needs to know. Only what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
Jerry, because all his kids call him Jerry. Jerry, you're right. Everybody calls him Jerry. Jerry, you're right. Jerry, you're wrong in this situation. Jerry, you shouldn't second guess. You shouldn't question your head coach publicly, because now you rob him of his ability to coach and his authority in the locker room. Because they know they're like, I ain't talking to you, I'm going to talk to Jerry. Once players found out that they had a pipeline, that they could bypass the head coach and go speak directly to that man.
Sure.
Why would I ever want to talk with Skip? Why would I ever need to talk to him? Why would I need to talk to Jason about anything? If he has no control, who plays, how much they play, Jerry's giving injuries updates. Well, yeah, he had this, and I think he'll be out about 2 or 3 weeks.
He does. He gives them before Jason does.
He does it all.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it's the wrongest thing I've ever seen.
It's the wrongest thing,
Yep.
and they're like, and that's it. So he really wants a guy like a Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
He wants a guy like a Bill Belichick, but those guys would never.
No. Well, he tried Parcells, and then he wouldn't even let Parcells have his autonomy.
Right.
He wouldn't let him buy the groceries and
Do the cooking.
right?
Because Parcells says, no, I don't want to.
Okay, and
You got him.
That is true. And you realize in this same radio interview yesterday, Jerry went off on this long, weird soliloquy, taking credit for how he youthed up the coaching staff. He said, I did this. When I decided to go with a younger makeup of the coaching staff, I decided that, and we did do that. These are quotes from his show yesterday, where he went position coach by position coach. Mark Colombo, and then we went with Chris Broussard, and of course we elevated Kellen Moore, and he's taking credit for building this around Jason, with Jason being the veteran safety net.
So in other words, the coach doesn't have any say on who is on his staff.
There you go.
And you see, here's the thing, Skip, okay? When the criticism comes for Kellen Moore, Jerry hired him, but we blame Jason Garrett. Okay, when the defense don't hold up, he hired Chris Broussard. He went younger. We don't blame Chris Broussard.
Yeah.
We blame Jason Garrett. So all these coaches that Jason Garrett had no say in hiring, we blame him when it goes amok. But we don't point the finger where it should be.
Not at all. And his final line is, I felt we could do that, get younger. With Jason Garrett there, he could be the safety net in case the wheels came off. Jerry, they just came off.
They're
At
off.
least 3 of them are off. There's 1 wheel left.
The wheels are
barely.
off.
6 and 6. 1 wheel. They're just like teetering down the road.
What he meant by that, when things go awry, I could just blame Jason.
That is true.
And that's what he's doing.
That's what we're seeing.
He just told you. Jason would be the safety net.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kellen Moore, and we like, well, why'd you take the ball out of Dak's hand? Or why you not running it? When Chris Broussard is giving up all these, when you can't get stops, you see who gets the blame?
There you go.
That's what Jerry had planned all along, and he just told you.
That is true. So what have we just witnessed from Jerry Jones over the last couple of weeks? We have seen him go from good cop to bad cop to good cop to bad cop. And I swear, he thinks these things through. This is all premeditated because after New England, he went bad cop. And it felt like he was about to fire
Jason on the way home.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then after Buffalo, he went sappy cop. He went like crazy old uncle on Thanksgiving night after too much to drink. And he had tears in his eyes defending Jason Garrett.
Right.
And then yesterday, he woke up and said, you know what, I'm going to show him a little bad cop today. I'm going to drop this hint.
Yesterday might have been worse cop.
Yeah, worse cop, okay? So that's fine. He is creating more upheaval and chaos for a team that needs none of the above right now. Right now, all that matters is that the quarterback starts making plays that win football games.
Especially in the red zone.
That's correct. And that the running back starts making plays that win games. And that the receiver, the number 1 wide receiver, shows up for games and rises and shines and plays like the best receiver in football.
Agreed.
And that the defense shows up and shows out that it's not the defense that ranks 26th in turnovers forced and takeaways.
Right.
That it's not dead last in interceptions, because that's not going to win any of these games.
No.
So, again, this is a team that ranks first in yards, which Jerry loves because it plays right into what Jerry... It's like...
I hired a young coordinator that got it going.
Okay, but to me, he's more about selling than winning. It's always been about more promoting than winning.
Correct.
So he loves it. We've got the highest powered offense in the league. Yeah, but you're 8th in points scored.
And you're 6 and 6.
And you're 20th in first and goal situations cashed, where you've cashed in with the touchdown. You're 20th in the league.
Right.
Well, that won't work.
Skip, because here's the thing. There's really no downside for them missing the playoffs, them not winning Super Bowls. Because guess what? Year after year, they sell more merchandise, more paraphernalia than anybody. All the 85,000 seats at Cowboy Stadium is sold out every week.
Well, they're the most valuable team in the world.
Business is
so there's no downside.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a downside to that, okay, there's no shows. All of a sudden, they weren't as profitable. Then all of a sudden, but Skip, if I'm making $300 million a year, what's the downside? That's why he went on Jerry's a Maverick. He went out on his own. I wanted to have my own deal. I want to print up my own merchandise.
Yep.
So Cowboys, somebody make a great catch of Zeke eating, they print them shirts up, they got them out Monday morning. the naming rights, the PSL. Everybody was doing Coca-Cola. Jerry said, "Nah, I want to do Pepsi. I want to do old Pepsi thing. I want to do my own jersey." Okay. So
I respect all that.
Yes.
It took guts and it took some sort of genius. He's got some business genius about him.
He's like, I can do, y'all don't know what y'all doing. I can do this better. I can make more money doing it myself, and I get to keep all of it. And I ain't got to share with the other 31 because I don't think y'all working as hard as I am. So I don't think you should reap the kind of rewards that I'm reaping. But Skip, Jerry has to accept some blame, some accountability for this being what it is because he hired that man and put all those pieces around him. And when things doesn't work, he don't ever mention the offensive line. He don't ever mention the defense. All he mentioned is Jason Garrett.
Yeah. So right now, Jason Garrett should be a non-story. To me, the owner GM should be even more of a non-story. It should be about what's happening in that locker room and on that practice field because it's all you have left. Your only hope is that Dak Prescott sort of pulls them together and says, I got you. I'm going to take you home here.
Skip,
That's it.
Does Jerry think the players listen and they get motivated by what he's saying?
No. I think they're tuning him out just the way they're tuning Jason Garrett out.
I think you're right, because they've heard, Skip, there's only so many times you can hear a pep talk or a speech before it's like, okay, here we go again.
Well, what do you say? Jerry can't play. Jason can't play.
No.
Right?
No.
So all of our focus, the media focus, thanks to this guy, Jerry Jones, is all on the owner and the coach. When really the focus has to be back on the locker room. The blame should be heaped on the owner / general manager.
I totally agree.
He wrought all this. He built it. He gave it to you, Cowboy Nation, and yet he had some quote yesterday. What was the one about? We do all we can do. There's nobody that shoves any more out there than I do. Well, shoves might be the operative word of what he's shoving out there. Shoveling out there a lot of you-know-what, right?
Exactly.
He's shoveling a lot out there. That's right. Okay?
What does Jason think when he wakes up and sees these quotes, though? When you hear that?
Skip, he would have never taken this approach with Parcells. He would have never taken this approach with Jimmy Johnson.
Jerry and Jason are so close. I am convinced, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that Jerry would call Jason on Monday night and say, hey, just a little FYI, a little heads up.
Right.
I've got a line I want to use in the radio, my radio show tomorrow, and I just want to kind of tease this a little bit, but don't take it personally. Don't overreact to it. Yeah.
Is the check going to be in there in the morning?
He continues clapping. He doesn't seem fazed by it.
Because he's clapping. He making about $4 million. He's like, check cleared again.
Right.
Jeez,
check cleared again.
I guess. Must be
in
nice.
his time as the head coach, no coach has coached more 500 games where his team has been 500 going into the game than Jason Garrett over his tenure as the Cowboy coach.
And he had a 10-year stretch.
That's correct. And he is the classic 8-8 kind of coach. That's
Two playoff wins.
That's correct.
Every time we say it, though, 2. That's it.
2.
That's all we got for him. But he continues to clap, and that check is still coming in the mail.
No mercy.
The Rockets are reportedly optimistic that the NBA will take action after James Harden's dunk in the fourth quarter was not counted. Harden's dunk went through the hoop, but the officiating crew ruled that it bounced out. The Rockets went on to lose 135-133 in double overtime to the Spurs, and Houston believes the league will either award them the win since they would have outscored the Spurs in regulation if the basket had counted, or they will allow the final 7 minutes and 50 seconds to be replayed at a later date when the score would have been 104-89 if Harden's dunk had counted. The last time the NBA replayed a game was in 2008, but it was for just less than a minute. So little different circumstances in this one. There's a lot there. Skip, should the final 7 minutes and 50 seconds be replayed?
Yes.
I watched this game.
Okay.
I was trying to watch your game and this game at the same time, and I was getting really distracted by this game because this turned out to be the game of the year so far in the NBA. There is no way the final 750 of this game should be replayed. There is double no way that the Rockets should be awarded the victory. And that is what Tim McMahon, who covers for ESPN.com, covers the Rockets, wrote, that the Rockets are hopeful, and I'm just going to guess he got this from Daryl Morey, the GM, but they're hopeful that a victory will just be flat out awarded to the Rockets. because they did blow this call, and that they're very confident that if that doesn't happen, that the final 750 will be replayed when these two teams meet again for the second time in San Antonio, which is April the 12th. That'll be the second and final time that the Rockets visit San Antonio.
That's like the end of the regular season, though.
Okay, it's 3 days before.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah, before it's their third to last game.
Right.
Okay. There is precedent for this. You're talking about the Shaq game when they wrongly ruled him disqualified with 6 fouls.
Right.
So they let the final 50 seconds be replayed the next time those two teams play.
Right.
You do it first, and then you stop down for a little bit and start the real game, the next game, right? Okay, so there is absolutely no doubt that the refs completely botched this entire situation because they even denied Mike D'Antoni the right to challenge twice, according to D'Antoni.
Right.
Because they first came to him and said, it's a goaltend. The ball didn't go through. Goaltend?
Yes, it did.
It just went through. Well, why wouldn't they just go look at it and say, what? You know, like, yeah, it went through. Then he said, I challenged that. And they said, well, you can't challenge. Yes, I can. I can challenge. And then another ref comes over, according to D'Antoni, and said, no, it actually didn't go through, and then James knocked it out of bounds, so it's off Houston, out of bounds. It's the Spurs ball.
Right.
Double.
Wait, no, that didn't happen.
You want to challenge that?
Okay, he said, I want to challenge. No, you can't challenge. And then they had the audacity to say after the game in their statement that the refs made, he missed the 30-second window to challenge. And D'Antoni's like, no, I kept saying I want to challenge, and they said, no, you can't challenge that.
That's frustrating.
Okay, well, they completely blew this. The Rockets got robbed on that play, just on that play. And as Jenny pointed out, it was a wipeout. It was 104 to 89 at that point, if you count the 2 points.
Right.
But you know and I know, every night they miss some call.
Thank you.
How many nights with 5 minutes left or 4 or 3 is there a shot made and then they call a charge and they wipe off the basket?
Right.
And somebody could say, no, you missed it. It was not a charge. We should have had that 2 points, so we should have won the close game, right?
Yes.
So you can't open that Pandora's box by going back and saying, I don't know what the Rockets are insisting this, but you can't do this because, remember, the Rockets still got 2 overtimes to right this wrong.
Right.
Not one, they got 2. So they had the rest of regulation, and they still had a 102 to 89 lead, and they couldn't hold that.
So in other words, you're mad that you didn't blow the 15-point lead like you did the 13-point lead. Because you did have, even though the basket didn't count, Skip, you had a 13-point lead. The score was 102 to 89.
Correct.
So you're up 13 with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. But, Skip, I agree with you 1,000%. There's no way in hell they should play the final 750. Skip, there are goaltendings that happen in the first quarter or the second quarter or the third quarter that they missed. This was a missed call. But I don't believe the bottom line is, Skip, the referees did not know the ball had gone in the basket. That was it. They thought it had went down. He slammed it so hard, it went and popped back out. It actually went through, and the net put it back after it went around.
The net popped it all the way back on top of the rim, and it's bouncing around on top.
Cool.
Right.
So it's an optical illusion to the referees, like it didn't go through the basket.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did.
But that wasn't what cost you the game. James Harden and Russell Westbrook going 18 of 68 from the floor. That's what cost you the game. Skip, James Harden was 11 of 38.
By the way, you know that was the lowest field goal percentage ever for someone who's scored 50 points. 11 of 38.
And Russ was 7 of 30. He had a triple-dub, though, Skip. He had a triple-dub.
He did.
Skip, 18 of 68. That's what cost you the game. And Mike D'Antoni, he made mention of it. We didn't get any stops, and we just kept, turning the ball over and jacking up shots. 18 of 68, Skip. At one point in time, say, you know what? Let me try to get a little better shot. Let me try to lay it up. James Harden was 4 of 20 from the 3. 4 of 20. But he did. He was 24-24 from the free throw line.
Okay, do you realize 24 of 24 is the all-time record for most free throws made?
Without a miss in a game.
Yeah, without a miss.
And
24 of 20, that's impossibly great.
The concentration that you got to have. They were 15 of 51 from the 3. 42, they had 42 field goals made of 112 attempts. Skip, that's what cost you the game. It wasn't that one. You mean to tell me with James Harden and Russ, 2 points cost you the game. The officials missed it. That's what the confusion was, Skip. They just missed the call.
They missed it, and then they botched everything that happened.
And it was your fault because Mike D'Antoni's trying to explain. So, well, I want to challenge that he made it. No, you can't challenge that. And what happened, the other guy comes over and said, well, no, it didn't go down, and he knocked it out of bounds. Well, I want to challenge. You can't challenge that. So when they finally realized that he could challenge, they said, well, the 30 seconds up. Well, you jacked off my time. Skip,
it's so bad.
You can't make me late for a meeting, Skip, and then say I'm late for the meeting. You made me late talking to me. Man, this is ridiculous.
So my quick Spurs thought of the day. I've brought this kid's name up to you before. Lonnie Walker IV.
Yes.
Figured you'd bring him up.
I told you after last summer's Summer League, I thought he was the best player in Summer League. He only played 2 games, but he averaged 30 a game. Greg Popovich will not play him. He's played barely all year until last night when, out of just give-up sort of desperation, he let him play the fourth quarter. And guess what happened?
He went crazy.
19 points happened. 19 points, that's like Steph Clay territory, right? And it was only because of him making 7 of 8 shots that they had a miraculous comeback to tie the score.
Yep.
And, of course, my man Jakob Poeltl, my close personal friend Jakob Poeltl that I met in Las Vegas. Did you see what he did to James Harden at the end of regulation? He made him eat it. Can we see this? Jakob! Jakob!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Jakob!
Oh, there's your guy.
That was it. That was for the game right there.
I want you to remember that.
Yeah.
Now. See,
Jakob.
he could jump.
Jakob.
So
I
just want you to remember that.
Yeah.
Jenny, you saw me.
Yeah.
Oh, Jakob. Now, when LeBron dunked on him, I don't want to hear you say nothing about it.
You know what? I don't think LeBron can dunk on him.
We're gonna wait
I
for
think
that.
he's a little springier than Tiago Splitter was.
He getting flushed on.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
think so?
Skip, but there's no way. You can't play 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Like you said, the Shaq situation, I think it was like 52 seconds.
Yeah, less
That's
than a
one
minute.
thing, Skip.
Yeah.
And that was at the end of the ball. But you're talking about playing almost 8 minutes of a game?
It is not going. I hope it's not
I
going to
don't
happen.
think
come
it can
on.
happen.
Okay.
Skip, if they miss this in the last minute, okay, I get it. Go replay that last minute.
Yep.
But Skip, you can't not 7 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't even know if you do it then, considering the game went over. Now, if you had lost the regulation, but to have 2 overtimes thrown in on top of it, you had 10 minutes to correct the wrong? Nah, NBA said, nah, hey, it's our bad. Our bad, my bad.
But they should have maybe owned it a little bit better than they did in terms of the officiating.
Especially with their post-game statement.
Yeah.
Yes.
To say that he didn't
Right.
challenge, I mean,
Come on.
that's a little
They
frustrating.
try to put it on, well, he could have challenged it. No, you were talking to me, telling me I couldn't challenge, and when you told me it went out of bounds on James, I said I want to challenge that. You said I couldn't challenge. Once you realized probably New York, or Secaucus or somewhere, got in their ear,
Yep.
well, he can challenge that. Oh, but your time's up. You can't challenge. No!
Time's up. You get 30 seconds when you're just feeding him one bogus concept after another. Goaltending, out of bounds off James. What?
Just replay it, Skip. We missed it. My bad. Hey, my bad. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. And go back and.
So what's getting lost in the shuffle is the 24 of 24, and I got to credit him, even though he shot so poorly. The reason he scored 50 points was that he made every free throw. James Harden has become the greatest high-volume free throw shooter in the history of this
absolutely.
league. Because Steph, just on career percentage, is the greatest free throw shooter
Right.
ever. Because he is 90.5% for his whole career.
Right.
Extraordinary.
Yes.
That's the best ever.
Right.
But the most free throws Steph ever shot in a year was 400. Last year, James shot 754 and was 88%. Well, for his career, he's 88%.
Right.
And to keep going up there, you know how hard it is to
Yes.
maintain
That concentration,
your focus.
Skip. Yes.
And keep doing that and not have just one little slip in 24 attempts.
Well, Skip, they couldn't let Steph or somebody like KD shoot that many free throws. They'd average 50.
Yeah.
With the percentage that they shoot, because you got to realize James Harden is shooting like 43%. You take a guy like KD that's somewhere around 50, or LeBron is around 50%, they would average 45 points a night.
They would. I would agree. But the refs are giving James some calls he doesn't deserve because I know how their minds work. They are won over by the guys who can go to the free throw line and make their free throws. So they will award you free throws if you have a reputation for being able to make free throws.
Well, they need to give him to LeBron because he's perfect in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
They need to get LeBron. He's perfect in the last 2 games. You saw that.
Is he going to shoot 75% for the year? No.
Shannon, 2 games. I mean,
Skip.
we're talking about 2 games.
He was 6 for 6
We
last
looked at
night.
it. We looked at it last night. Right now, he's 69.6.
Okay.
In order for him to get back to that 75% immediately, he would need to break James Harden's record and go 25 and 25 in the next game. But what we're going to do, we're going to methodically do it. We're going to be 8 or 10 here, 11 or 13 there, 12 or 14 here, and by the All-Star break, and by All-Star game, bam, bam. There we go.
You better hope he doesn't have to shoot those with games on the line, or it's going to drop.
Did you see him last night?
I don't think the game was on the line.
You think it was on the line?
Making those free throws. Come on, stop.
And free throws to close, and he caught a dunk on Joker.
Yeah.
Caught a dunk on him.
I think everybody caught a dunk on Joker last night because he was just a joke.
Oh, you think Caruso? Caruso. Oh, man, Caruso.
You know what?
He's kind of fun to watch.
He's the best athlete on the Lakers.
He got bounced.
I'm rooting for that.
He catching them.
No mercy.
The city of Los Angeles is taking the NBA by storm. LeBron and the Lakers have won 11 of their last 12 games and sit atop the West with an 18-3 record. Meanwhile, the Clippers are right behind at 16-6 and have lost only 1 game at home all season. Both teams racked up wins last night, so both of these guys happy. But Shannon, roughly a quarter of the way through the season, who is better? And I'm going to ask you, because I got to ask every day, the Lakers or the Clippers?
Lake Show. We've been better.
Sure about that?
Yeah, I'm 100%. Because we play more consistent, Skip. And we know, and AD and LeBron is figured out, and they're still good. They're going to get even better. But they figured out how to play each other. Skip, they can do the pick and roll, which is unstoppable, or the pick and pop, AD pulling up. And plus, guess what I know? The best players will play on a nightly basis. I was like, what? The best player, Skip. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a game, I think last week, Kawhi was 7 of 21. And last night, he was 3 of 15. Everybody talking about the efficiency. That's what they loved about. Nobody can speed him up. Nobody can slow him down. Kawhi just does that his own thing. He's so methodical. Remember, Skip, he's a Terminator. I'll be back. Oh, you know, Skip was just eating this goblet. Oh, that was a great. Even had Jenny over here with pom-poms on. And Jenny ain't never been a cheerleader. She up there chill.
No,
Ooh,
not
Kawhi. Ooh, Kawhi. What happened?
Acting.
Skip, what's going on, Skip? Do you know he's shooting 43% from the floor? Do you know he's shooting 31% from the three-point line? Now, they load manage him. He load managing it on the court. He's already not practicing. He's already missing a second of a back-to-back. And now he on the court bull jiving. I told you.
Tell me when it's
and
my
it's not your turn just yet. You know we better because we got size, we got length, we go inside. Skip, we ain't even hit our stride yet where guys are consistently making shots. But once we start doing that, now we ain't got no treads to bail us out. We ain't got a Paul George, and AD sucked it up for us last night. Had to get an IV.
He did.
Came back strong, did a one-on-one with Joker. One-on-one with him. Get it out of here. Jamal Murray, you think you about to take me, bro? Get it out.
Nope.
Skip, you know we better. And 18-3 says we're better. And when it's all said and done, we will be better. You got load, man. I mean, at least, Skip, if you're going to play every other game or every other day, at least give me 50% from the floor. There is no reason for you to be 5 of 15. Oh, 3 of 15, my bad.
3 of 15.
What percentage is that, Jenny? I ain't good at math. What percentage is that? That what's get like?
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it need to matter.
20?
Huh, 20?
Is that right?
20%.
I am not good at math, but...
I mean, he out there shooting like Lonzo Ball.
I think it's like 69.6%. Oh, no, wait, that's LeBron's free throw percentage.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I got confused.
Skip, that's the only thing that he has LeBron on right now is free throw percentage. Every other aspect,
really,
the wash king, the most, the unathletic one. Now, who looks unathletic now? I mean, game one, he looked so athletic. He had LeBron. LeBron looked so athletic.
Yep.
Who looking like who now, Skip? With load management. Show we Bron can get him a couple of days off. Show be nice. But we get paid to play.
Interesting.
That's what we do.
Before I discuss Kawhi Leonard and respond to all the baloney you just spewed all over the table, I would like to make a point about a Western Conference that isn't remotely like what I thought it would be.
Oh, no, it ain't what you thought it was. Okay.
I thought it was going to be loaded.
It is loaded.
It's unloaded.
We top
Speaking
heavy.
of load management,
We top heavy
I
as
think
bleep.
the Western Conference is top heavy as bleep, to paraphrase one LeBron James back in February of 2017, right? 2017, when we were at the Super Bowl in Houston. I thought the Denver Nuggets would be a lot better than they are. They ain't the same. I thought, silly me, I thought Portland would be pretty good. Nope, they're not very good. I thought Utah would be a force and a factor. They are not. And the Lakers do play there tonight back to back. So we'll see how they fare. And I would fully expect the Lakers to go in there and take care of business again.
Okay.
So then I look all the way down to the bottom and I say, I really thought, silly me, I thought the Warriors would sort of come back to life because they were going to have Steph. I thought maybe Clay would be back by February or March with Draymond, and you'd still have those three. Well, wouldn't you think those three would be a factor in this race? No, they are completely devastated, right?
They're about to get a bunch of ping pong balls. That's what the Warriors are about to get.
Okay. And my Spurs, they're starting to show a few signs of life, but not enough yet because they're pretty much woeful.
Life support.
Okay. They're barely on life support, but they're still the same team. They're actually a little better than they should be, a little better than they were last year. But I could say this about a lot of these teams. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Dallas Mavericks are 14-6. Do I think they're a threat to contend in the West? I do not.
But they're a good team, though, Skip.
Okay, but you beat them twice already, and you should have beaten them twice. No, wait, they beat you once. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the game at Dallas. But okay, the point is, your Timberwolves. They've been much better than I thought they'd be, but they're 10-9. Do I think they can contend it? I do not. Do I think the Phoenix Suns, the surprise of the West, can contend? I do not. And I thought the New Orleans Pelicans would be a factor in this and maybe the 8th playoff team. And obviously, they have not had Zion all year. And that's a big deflating disappointment to all of us who love the NBA.
Yes.
So now that brings me back to these two teams. I got to give you this first. Last night, Anthony Davis made a statement, IV or no IV, flu or no flu. At the quarter pole, he is the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Because the number he did on
Joker,
he annihilated him. He wiped him out physically, psychologically, mentally. He just took him completely out of the game. I have never seen Joker look that bad, that inept, that he looked like if I didn't know anything, if I'd never watched a game and I just turned that game on, I'd say, that guy didn't belong in the league. Seriously.
You just said, who is that Joker?
Who is that?
Man, that Joker there is terrible.
I mean, he's a G leaguer because he looked inept.
He did.
He looked like unathletic and awkward.
And that's what LeBron said. What AD took Joker, what we're able to do is stay plastered to our guys.
He said
we don't have to come down to help. AD got this.
No help. My God, when the Spurs played them in the first round of the playoffs last year, they'd have to send 3 at him to stop him.
Did.
And then he would kick it to Jamal Murray, who was making threes out of his mind.
Harris.
And last night, speaking of threes, the home team was not very good. The home team shot 6 of 29. That's 20%, 20.7%. Okay, so they don't make any threes, and Denver goes 0 for 7 from 3 in the fourth quarter. That's just not who they used to be. They used to just light people up at home because they would always have the hot hand.
Yep.
So now back to Anthony Davis. I got to give him the quarter pole defensive player of the year and the MVP. I think he, for 1/4 of the year, and I'm going to give it up to him because I thought the Staples lights would be a little too bright for him. Maybe they will be as this year wears on toward the postseason.
Well, Skip, I think for him, when he realizes that he's playing for a championship, he has aspirations. Skip, look, you can say what you want to say, New Orleans. But Skip, everybody knew New Orleans was not going to be the representative in the Western Conference. Long as Golden State was as they were configured, and even with Houston Rockets.
Yep.
So we knew they were not going to be the representative in the Western Conference. He sincerely believes, now with this roster that he has, led by LeBron James and some of these other pieces, that they've done a great job. Rich Pelinka did a great job of scrambling to get. Rob Pelinka did a job scrambling to get Skip. He really believes, like, man, we got a chance now. And you see him. Maybe in New Orleans, he doesn't play. Maybe if that shoulder's banged up, Skip, he doesn't play. But he knows now, in order to get the recognition that he deserves, he's going to have to play through some things that he didn't play through in New Orleans, and he can't use that as an excuse if he has 11, 12 points and they lose.
That is true.
And he's doing that right now. But But you know who the best team is. Skip, I want you to explain what's going on with your guy.
I haven't finished yet because I haven't gotten to the best team.
Okay.
It's clearly the Clippers. They're just deeper and they're much better overall defensively than the Lakers are. What they did to Portland last night was awe-inspiring because in the second half, they just took Dame and CJ completely out of everything they try to do. And I love what Doc said after the game. He said, at halftime, we didn't make any adjustments. We said, something's going to give. We either start defending or we're really going to have a tough night. And Montrez said after the game, in the third quarter, we just decided to impose our will on the defensive end and start causing havoc.
Right.
And they did. And it was 27-17 in the third quarter. Portland only scored 17, and they were off to the races. And it was a 20-point wipeout.
But the thing is, Skip, Portland doesn't have a guy that you can dump it down to and say, go get me a bucket. That's not Hassan Whiteside. They are perimeter-based basketball team.
Nurkic isn't there, and obviously Zach Collins isn't there right now.
Right.
Yep.
So, but we got AD, but we still got old Goat James. We still got him. Did you see Bazemore? I should have pulled that tape. Did you see what Bazemore did to the claw? Threw it out of the building. Claw, you get no layup here, bro.
Did you see what Doc said after the game about Kawhi Leonard? He said, I loved how he approached this game. He decided to get everybody else going. Then he decided to try to get himself going.
Hold on. How you get everybody going with 5 assists? How the hell he do that?
No.
First quarter, second quarter.
Hold on. No, Skip, I ain't gonna let you do that. Hold on, Kawhi. Okay, yeah. In the first quarter, he had 3 assists. Now, he had 5 for the game. So what happened to do for the rest of the game? Oh, and he had 2 more. So he had 5 assists at the half. So what the hell was going on in the second half?
I just told you he had 5 assists in the first half. So that was it. That's what Doc said. He tried to get everybody else going. Sometimes they didn't make his shot.
No. So what about the second half?
Well, they wiped him off the face of the earth.
So it was over. Was he not there?
Well, he was there playing defense. There are 2 sides.
So that was what about?
You need to tell LeBron they're actually 2 sides.
Whoa! You told me he's the best two-way player. So now he's taking the offensive side off, huh?
Yeah.
It's hard to be the MVP candidate.
By the way, speaking of GOAT James, quote unquote.
GOAT.
He had one of those LeBron LeBrick moments last night. Did you see that shot he took with 7.5 minutes left in the game? It was still a tight game. I think it was still a 2-point game. And LeBron, watch this.
Let's see.
You know what he can do?
I knew he was up. He's up. LeBron, wait a second. The basket's in the middle of the backboard. Wait, that missed the basket by like a foot to the left.
He missed it, Skip. He missed
it. What are you doing?
He missed it.
He's the GOAT, says you.
Hello, Skip.
He's an MVP candidate, says you.
My guy went on the road and missed 9 shots against a good Nuggets team. Your guy played at home and missed 12 shots.
Okay, but wait a second. How do you airball from 3 so badly you hit nothing but backboard?
Skip. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So
Yes.
no other NBA player has ever airballed a 3.
Well, you're telling me he's the GOAT.
He better than Kawhi.
You're saying every other day on the show you say he's the MVP so far this year.
I mean, he just a whole hum 25, 11, and 7.
I don't know.
In year 17. And what he's doing in year 17. When Kawhi gonna give us that kind of stat line, Skip? He got everybody involved. But hey, better get yourself in. You worry about getting everybody else to the dance and you standing outside. Security won't let you in. Hey, just get my man in. Get my man in. You get everybody in, and the bouncer say, we fill the capacity, homeboy. Now you was left out in the cold. So guess what? He got everybody else involved, and he ain't do jack. Load managing.
You know what I loved last night, late in the Clippers game on TNT?
What?
All of a sudden, boom, right on schedule, the New Balance commercial pops
Nobody
up.
care about that New Balance commercial.
Kawhi Town, it says.
love
Kawhi Town, and I've missed the tagline at the end of it. It says, we got next.
No, that's not what
got
it says.
now.
It says Cowtown.
Yeah.
Because that's what he been playing like.
Really?
Cowtown. Skip, you ought to be, first of all, if you notice, when you ever seen LeBron in a sneaker commercial? When you ever see KD in a sneaker commercial?
Okay.
When you see Kyrie? When you see Giannis?
When has LeBron ever had a sneaker made that somebody'd want to wear?
Oh, Skip, hold on. All I know is we the number 2 behind Jordan. we when it comes to sneakers, we know GOAT, man. We know Jordan is the number 1. But guess who number 2 is?
Hey,
Guess what the New Balance? The New Balance ain't even got registered yet.
Are they on the list?
No, what list? For hospitals. That's the number 1 shoe recommended for hospitals.
You wear those again. You haven't worn them lately. You
Get
wear
it.
those
Yeah.
Hey, I'm ride or die with Jordans. It's period, end of story. But
you don't
Shannon, you should get you some of these New Balance. Whew.
Like most hospitals use Supercall mouthwash. The number one recommended shoe for hospitals across the country is the New Balance Kawhi Leonard.
Really?
Yeah, stop up.
You seen those
Very
hot
supportive.
pink ones?
Yeah.
I told you they hot something, all right. But not what you thinking.
Yeah.
Can't be missed.
I'll bet secretly LeBron bought him a pair.
I bet you LeBron.
Just to wear around the house, maybe?
Skip.
Casual.
Nobody's wearing those LeBron. No, I mean those Kawhis. You know that.
I think they're really.
How many people you seen
They're
wearing
as
them?
close to Jordans as you can get.
Skip. I'm on there. I'm on social media all the time. I have yet to see anybody flexing nice kicks and soul clip and all these apps. I don't see nothing about no New Balance. I ain't see nobody rocking Kawhi. Only Kawhi got them. And Uncle Dennis.
Uncle Dennis, he's definitely rocking.
Well, I got a pair because they gave them to me.
Yeah. You ain't gonna be seeing them.
I know you're
I be
an
rocking
guy.
LeBron. I got this PlayStation.
You know, my Kawhis would look good down on South Beach at the Super Bowl when the Cowboys are playing. Maybe LeBron will be there to watch. Yeah.
He's not going to be there? He'll be too busy.
Yeah, we
He's
busy.
doing a lot of things.
We'll take care of business.
Okay, maybe we'll see him again at the Super Bowl, but I don't want to wait that long. But if you insist, Skip, if you insist. So the Panthers fired head coach Ron Rivera yesterday after Carolina got beat by Washington for their 4th loss in a row and 7th on the season. It's being reported that the next head coach for the Panthers will play a significant role in determining Cam Newton's future with the team moving forward. It's been speculated that the Panthers could be moving on from Cam to free up nearly $20 million in cap space next season. And according to Fox Bet, Jim Harbaugh is the betting favorite to be the Panthers' next coach, followed by Jason Garrett and Josh McDaniels. How about those 3 names? Shannon, should the new coaching staff keep Cam?
I believe so, but I also believe that the owner has it right. I'm going to let the head coach, I'm going to bring him in, I'm going to give him power, and I'm going to let him decide. But I believe they should keep Cam because I believe he's their best option. Now, I say that, Skip, saying, okay, you're going to bring somebody that's going to be willing to work and put a system in place for that use his unique skill set. Skip, look, we wanted Norv Turner because we know what Norv Turner can do with conventional quarterbacks. Norv Turner, basically their route tree is the bang 8, which is the 1 through 3, 4, 5, and throw the skinny post. He has the deep comeback and he has the speed out. But that's not what Cam is. Now, if you hire Greg Roman, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, and I know he wasn't mentioned in this, Greg Roman, okay, you see the skill set and what he's done with Lamar Jackson. Now, Jim Harbaugh, he had a guy that was very similar to Cam in Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
So I think that goes a long way. But I believe if they were to say, no, Cam, we want to go in a different direction, we're going to clear the decks, we want someone else to be the face of our franchise, Cam will have suitors. It's being reported that he is going to have the surgery on his foot, which is going to keep him out 8 to 12 weeks. So, which means, Skip, by the time free agency roll around, he should be fairly healthy, and teams go in their medical staff to take a look at that foot. So I believe he'll have choices. But I do believe he's their best option. We see Kyle Allen now. They get 3 or 4 games of game tape on you, Skip. He sure doesn't look as good as he did in the first 3 games, did he, Skip? Now he's looking like, okay, now I see why you went undrafted. I believe Cam would be their best option, but you're going to have to be a coach that's willing to put a system in place that will work with his unique skill set.
So I hear you, and you could be right about this, but let's start with this new owner, David Tepper, who just pulled the plug on Ron Rivera with, 4 games left.
Ago.
Huge ego, potentially the next Jerry Jones. Quick point. In his career, he once worked for Goldman Sachs. He seems to have a real financial genius about him because he is a billionaire. And I read last night that he came up with a way to help save Goldman Sachs during the crash of 1987, and he thought he would be promoted to a partner after that, but he feels like he was passed over because, quote unquote, he was too loud and profane. This is the owner of the Carolina Panthers.
Well, I know how Goldman Sachs got bailed out. Government money. Just like a lot of the other ones got bailed out with government money.
All right. So he doesn't need anybody to bail him out now.
No, he good.
Because his ego is big enough that he thinks he can recreate the Panthers in his image. So he wants to start it from the top down. He wants to start it over. So I'm just going to guess, this is my educated guess from a distance, or my 2 cents from a distance. he'll want to start over with a new coach and a new quarterback.
Yes.
And
because both of those remind him of what? The old regime.
That's correct.
Jerry Richardson. He hired Ron Rivera and Cam.
And probably to his point, Cam has taken a lot of hits, man. In fact, I saw stats last night. He has taken the most hits of any pro football player in the time he's been in pro football.
Oh,
that's running back, anybody.
Wow.
He's taken the most hits of anybody on offense.
Right.
It's a lot of wear and tear.
It is.
And he's invited a lot of those hits.
Correct.
And he's dished as much as he has taken. But the point is, he's had 2 shoulder surgeries, and there was some doubt early this year when he didn't seem to have enough gun left to throw the deep ball.
Correct.
And what did he do the best when he was running and throwing? He could wing it, man.
Yep.
So if you take that away from him, now 2 surgeries on shoulders and 1 on his foot, take away a little bit of quickness,
Mobility,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know. Would I like to see him as the Bears quarterback next year? Sure, I would. I think that would be a huge upgrade for the Chicago Bears. You could make cases saying, I'm not saying L.A. Chargers, obviously.
Right.
Wherever Tom Brady doesn't go, if in fact he gets pushed out the back door. So there will be plenty of suitors for Cam. And the truth is, heart of hearts for me, I would like to see him get a fresh start somewhere.
You could be right.
Yeah, just start over and with a new big chip on your shoulder, because Cam can be pretty fierce when he's got a big chip on his shoulder.
And you know, Skip, sometimes when you're in a location for an extended period of time, people start to take for granted, and they don't realize how good you were. And then all of a sudden, and they're starting to get a little taste of it now because they've kind of fallen on hard times because Christian McCaffrey's not losing his mind. So they like, okay, we're going to shut down C-Mac, and we're going to see what your quarterback can do.
Yep.
Well, now that C-Mac can't go for $150 and 112 receiving, and Kyle Allen has to win these games, now you see just how pedestrian he actually looks. So maybe you're right, Skip. I think Carolina would be a great place, but like I said before, I believe he'll have his suitors. You know, if Jerry Jones says Jason Garrett will be a hot commodity on the open market, I believe Cam Newton will be a hot commodity. But again, Skip, it goes back to he's not everybody's cup of tea, and you got to be willing to put him in a system that fits his skill set.
Yep. So I've always been a big Ron Rivera fan, and I think he's a rock-solid football coach with a defensive mindset. But then last night, I start scanning his records as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and it's not that great.
No.
They're 6 out of 9 years, they had losing records. When they hit, they really hit. They went to the Super Bowl with 15-1.
Right.
Correct.
And in the postseason, he's 7-3, which
That's pretty
sell
good.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. But do I blame David Tepper for saying, I want to start over? I don't.
Right.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Because that's what he said, Skip. He said, I knew I was going to be looking for a new head coach. Let me go ahead and start the process.
Just do it. And again, I liked his idea of, I don't want to be sneaking behind his back and trying to interview guys on the sly and have Ron find out about it before the season.
Right.
Because he said, I'm already hearing that some of the coaches who might be in play are already getting feelers from other teams that need a new coach.
Right.
So he wanted to get ahead of that. I'm fine with all that. I also remind everybody, I loved Will Grier coming out of college, and he's the third-string quarterback.
Right.
He has not had a chance yet.
No.
But I thought Will Grier was the second-best quarterback in that draft behind Kyler Murray.
Okay.
And I want to see, and maybe they want to see, what he could do going forward with a new regime and a new coach. Right. I don't know. Maybe they're down. I have no idea. But I just know at West Virginia, he could light it up, and you saw some games.
Oh, yeah, he always really impressed me.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised he hasn't.
I think the thing is, but Tepper needs to understand whether it's going to be Kyle Allen or Will Grier, or you go into the draft.
They might go into the draft. Yep.
But just know, Skip, the likelihood of a rookie quarterback taking you somewhere, you understand you're going to have some lean times now.
Well, he had a quote yesterday about that and said, I'm not this, don't look to me to be the savior. If you think I'm the savior, I want to introduce you to the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus, or I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn, right? So I got that. So he's trying to temper
see, Skip, you know
expectations.
When you've had the kind of success that he has, that's easier said than done. Because he can snap his fingers and whatever he wants. When you have that kind of wealth, you can get. But it doesn't work like that in sports. Because it doesn't, especially football, because you have a cap, you can't just be the Yankees or the Red Sox and go get, I'm going to get the best pitcher, first baseman, second baseman, center fielder.
True.
You can't do that in football. So you said, okay, yeah, I understand, it's going to take some time. Are you really? Are you sure?
It's a process.
You have that kind of time.
Yep.
You have that kind of stomach for patience.
Jerry Jones dominated the oil fields of Oklahoma and Texas. And then he dominated the NFL for a while.
Right.
And then it's been since the 1995 season since he won a Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's been forever since they had any playoff run.
But Skip, the thing is, people look at what the Patriots doing. They're like, that it's got to be. I mean, they can't be the only one that's doing. I mean, everybody practices. No, that's an anomaly. Like the Yankees winning I think they went 12 straight years and when they won 90 games, or they won 7 out of 10 championships. Skip, those are anomalies. Those don't happen. They only happen once in a lifetime. So you think that somebody's going to be able to replicate at a destination what New England's doing? No. So get that thought. Skip, you ain't gonna have no 17 straight seasons of 10 wins. Get that out your head.
That is true, but I wish Cam well.
Yes, I wish him health.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything else will take care of itself. I want him to get totally healthy. That foot, those shoulders, and then, go somewhere, if it's not in Carolina, that will embrace your skill set and put a system around you. Yeah. Not say, okay, well, this guy was great with Troy Aikman. This guy, he's the quarterback whisperer. But is he going to run a system that's conducive to what Cam can really do well?
Yep.
Yeah. And he had a nice post about Ron Rivera. And, they had been together since 2011. Only coach he's ever had.
Right.
So, I mean, that's hard. That's a long relationship.
I mean, they did a thing, Skip. They were talking about the players that came in that draft. Cam out. Von Miller missed the game. J.J. Watt missed the game. Julio missed the game.
Yep.
All the guys, the top guys, like wow, 2011. But that was a heck of a draft.
It was.
Just remember, he's only 30 years old.
30.
So just keep that in mind if he's able to get well.
He's got a lot of football left.
No mercy.
Pro Football Focus has released their quarterback rankings based on their play while also taking into account help from their team. Despite leading the league in passing yards, Dak Prescott came in at 6th. Behind the Cowboys QB was Tom Brady at 7. Aaron Rodgers came in at 9. And the reigning MVP, Patrick Mahomes, was down at 11. So, Shannon, did they get these rankings right?
Hell no, this is some bull jive. This is some bull flitters and every other kind of bull. You know what I'm talking about, Skip Bayless.
I don't.
You do. This is some bull jive, Skip. You see what
is bull jive? I don't even know what it is.
You know bull jive.
Means you're angry.
Skip, just help me understand. You see, this is the problem, is that people can't get past. If you take Brady, B-R-A-D-Y, off the back of that jersey, and look at a guy that's 29th in completion percentage, 26th in yards per attempt, 19th in QBR. I thought we evaluate players on what they're doing, not what they've done. They can't let go of what he's done. That's his. He's done it. But there's no way anybody that's watching football today can say Tom Brady has played better this year than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has a better completion percentage, better QBR. What? Yards per attempt. My homeboy, Aaron Rodgers, is 22-2. 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. My homeboy, after missing 2 games, is 20-2. Tom Brady is 18-6 and played every game. This is some bull. You know, I know some bull jive, Jenny. They got Baker Mayfield 17. If Baker Mayfield is anything past the 29th slot, it's some bull jive.
Yeah,
this is terrible. And they talk about, well, he's down because in the first 3 weeks he was the #1 rated. Okay, and this is where I get. This is where I get him at, Jenny. Was Julian Edelman? Was he throwing to Julian in the first 3 weeks? Yeah. Jacoby Myers, Philip Dorsett. Yeah.
Okay.
The same guys he's throwing to now.
Wait, Josh Gordon? Yeah. Antonio Brown? Yeah.
Wait, no. He had. Hold on.
Sure.
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. He had Antonio Brown for one game.
Well, you asked in the first 3 weeks. You said, was he throwing? Throwing to Josh Gordon?
Miami, right?
By the way, Josh Gordon keeps catching balls for the Seahawks. I don't know what's happening.
Y'all can use it. You can use it. So that's what you do. You move on. You moved on, Skip. You got Mohamed Sanu. You wanted Mohamed Sanu.
I didn't.
You did not.
Skip, at some point in time, we got to be fair and evaluate and judge Tom Brady on what he's doing, not what he's accomplished, not the great comeback against Atlanta, not what he did in the AFC Championship game again. All that other stuff, Skip, that is there. That's finite, it's concrete. But you evaluate this man today, there's no way that he's outplayed Aaron Rodgers. There's no way he's outplayed my homeboy. Zero chance. I ain't got no problem with Dak. I think Dak might be a little higher. But Dak, I'm going to get Dak some love. Dak balling. On pace to throw for over 5,000 yards. But for Tom Brady, you're saying Tom Brady, really? Tom Brady has played the 7th best quarterback position in the NFL this year. That is some bull diggity.
Interesting. You know what I love about this ranking?
What?
It's one of those rankings that's not subjective. It's off film breakdown. Deep second and third level breakdown of actual how did that throw work for that quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate what you said about Dak Prescott because I completely agree. I'll go number 6. I would like to see him make a few more game-winning plays because I'm reminded everybody.
Well, that's why he's not high.
Okay, well, he in his first 3 years in this league, he led the league in all that 3-year period in game-winning drives. He has none this year. That's the difference in 6-6 and what could be 10-2 for this team if you had closed the deal. So I do love what they said about him because they point out that he has set a career high with 907 yards on deep throws. That's 20-plus air yard throws. And that ranks second in the National Football League. And their bottom line takeaway is Dak Prescott has improved as much as any quarterback in the league from last year.
And guess what? He's on pace to have the same record as he had his last year. So how much improvement has he done?
Okay. So now back to Tom Brady, and they point out once again, because it was their stats that broke this down, but he was rated number 1 in the league after the first 3 games. Okay.
Tell what he means.
By the way, that was this year. It wasn't last year.
Yeah.
It wasn't back in 2007.
Yes.
It was actually this year. 3 games.
Yes.
So that counts toward his overall ranking. He's dropped to middle of the pack since then, they say. But that coincides with numerous miscommunications and inconsistency from a subpar supporting cast in New England. Subpar.
You see what they did?
They didn't do anything. They just spat a fact at you.
What about the quarterback is 42 and his legs and his ability to get out of harm's way?
Sharpe, where do the New England Patriots rank in rushing? Can you say 24th? 24th in the league in rushing. Help me out. The New England tight ends as a group, there are 3 of them who have caught balls, but not very many. Okay. Where do they rank in catches as a whole group in the whole league among tight ends? Dead last.
Yes.
Dead last. The whole group has caught a grand total of 1 touchdown pass. Yes. The whole group. Yes. So you went from arguably, you might have a say in this, but arguably the greatest tight end in the history of the league, Rob Gronkowski. You went to a 3-headed lack of monster tight end group who is dead last in receptions. How can you function? How can you survive? How can you be all of a sudden? How do you get to be?
Okay, your point is duly noted. But why was everybody beating me up when I said Rob Gronkowski makes Tom Brady's job a lot easier? When Tom Brady won Super Bowls without Gronk. Now you begging for him to come out. You're trying to coax him out of retirement. But you see, Skip, what happens is that as we start to age, our ability to do things and make everybody else around us better starts to dissipate. So what they've done is they've made it all about the receivers. They don't want to admit Tom Brady is aging just like that Nat Geo when they do that film lapse and that flower they plant the seed and all of a sudden on time lapse it starts to grow and it starts to bloom. Right before our eyes.
He's blooming.
Tom Brady is getting older and older.
Right before us,
he's getting older and older.
It's a new
No.
You know, every December he just blooms.
New era.
But let me ask you this, Skip. You talk about where they're rushing. Not one time did they mention anything about Sonny Michel last year. They talk about, did you see that comeback to Tom Brady? 3 3rd and 10s. You didn't mention Sonny Michel. Had 3 touchdowns and he went over 100 yards. You didn't mention that. But now Tom Brady is struggling because of age. And I tell people, Skip, the thing that starts to go as you age as an athlete is not the part that you use the most. Tom Brady's his shoulder. It's his legs. His legs is not the same. Now you could dress it up all you...
He's never had any legs. What are you talking about? Seriously? Do you remember the 40 he ran at the combine?
Skip, I'm talking about
his legs.
No, I'm not saying Skip. I'm not talking about his running. I'm talking about his ability to drive the ball consistently. Yes, great players, Skip. We always great, and we can have that one game or that a few games or a few throws. But I'm talking about.
Are you saying he lost arm strength? Because I'd show you rockets. He's still throwing rockets.
Yeah.
They don't lose arm strength.
Skip,
Brett Favre can still throw rockets.
But Brett didn't have any legs. It's the legs. You don't throw with your arms, Skip. You throw with the... Why you think... What is Dak doing? When Dak is doing that viral video, what's he doing?
Where did he learn that?
Skip.
From my friend Tom House right here at USC in LA, where Tom Brady goes every off season.
But what do you have to, Skip, in order to
He is Tom House's #1 client.
I get that, Skip. but it's not about his leg because Dak is not doing this. He's doing that with his hips.
So is everybody.
It's his leg, Skip. But everybody isn't 42. That's my point.
Boy, he's throwing the ball just as well as he's ever thrown it. Unfortunately, the bulk of his targets have gone to little Julian Edelman and little James White. Go look at the targets. Way number 1 and number 2.
Are they the same targets that was started when he was at the top in the first 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Was the target still going to James White and Julian Edelman?
No, there was Antonio Brown had a whole game of targets, and Josh Gordon got a whole bunch of targets.
Antonio Brown caught 5 passes. He caught 5 passes. You see, what you failed to tell the people, you said Tom Brady going into the last week was number 1 in completions, but you didn't tell him he was number 1 in pass attempts. That's like James Harden. James Harden has made more free throws than anybody in the NBA this year. He also has attempted more.
Yeah, but he's making 88%. That's a bad analogy.
Skip. Think about this. He has the most completions, but he's 29th in completion percentage. What kind of analysis is that?
Well, it's 10-2. They're 10-2. I don't know. The quarterback has some say.
Skip, how much does the Grand Marshal have to do with the parade? Because that's what Tom Brady is. When he's been asked to win a game, what has he done?
Boy, he almost won one.
No, Skip, I don't do no almost. I took that off my menu. I took QBR. I took almost because people, and excuses, because people couldn't coming in there. It's like, oh, do I take QBR today?
Well, you sure have been using.
No.
You sure have been throwing QBR at me this week. That's all I hear is QBR.
Because you love that stat. You love it, but yet when we talk about Tom Brady, you won't mention that he's 19. You love completion percentage until Tom Brady is 19, until 26.
Let's move on to your
29.
favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yes, he
Greatest
is.
thrower in football ever.
He is. Yes, indeed.
In the last month, he had 2 of the most horrendous games of his career.
Okay.
Just horrendous, like embarrassment games at San Francisco and at LA Chargers.
Happened.
Yeah. He has now fallen, according to Pro Football Focus, to 27th in pro football in positively graded throws. That's horrendously bad. It's over for Aaron Rodgers. He's a shell of what he used to be.
Hold on, let me get this straight. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself.
What he used to be, or at least what you used to think he was.
What is Tom Brady then? A guy that's 18-6.
Well, that guy just won the Super Bowl. Last one I saw, Tom Brady won it.
You see what he said, Jenny? He won the Super Bowl. He didn't mention the MVP, Julian Edelman. He didn't mention Gronk. He didn't mention Sonny Michel in that running attack that led the league in rushing.
I told you Tom Brady should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Stop it.
He led
with a 26 QBR?
Did he lead the one scoring drive?
One scoring
drive. Going 5 for 5?
Yeah. You're making my point. Jenny, what did I tell him? I said, you can have a drive here and there, but consistency throughout the course of the game.
On your man, Patrick Mahomes, who now goes to Tom Brady on Sunday. His negatively graded throws have increased by 5.2%. That's the highest increase in the league this year.
How do we know they're negative? How do we know?
They graded him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll trust him.
You see what they did? Yeah. Now, see, when we want to paint the quarterback at fault, we say negative throws. But see, Tom Brady, we're going to make it about communication with the receivers. You see what he did there, Jenny? I can do it any kind of way you want to, Skip.
Do you have any idea how bad Patrick Mahomes would look if you gave him only Julian Edelman and James White as his 2 quote-unquote weapons behind a shaky offensive line that's even been shakier than his?
Do you know how bad Tom Brady would look if he had to play behind that Kansas City's defense?
Do you know what?
Do you know?
Do you realize what what Tom Brady would do with Kansas City's weapons? Because everywhere I look, there are nothing but weapons.
Do you know?
My God.
Skip.
Brady has 1/100th of the weapons that Mahomes has. 1/100th.
Think about this. In the losses that he had last year, Mahomes' defense was giving up over 37 points a game. The man scored 45, they give up 40. They give up 55. The man scored 40, they give up 43.
Think about this. Tom Brady's only weapon is a little white guy who played quarterback at Kent State.
Skip.
What?
Skip.
That's it. That's all he's got left.
Think about it.
That's all,
Skip.
You're saying he's washed.
No, Skip.
Yeah.
When you evaluate a player, you don't project out. I'm talking about this. When I'm evaluating these guys, I'm talking about this year and what I see. I'm not talking about what they're done because I can't do anything about that. Nobody can do anything about that. And we can't predict the future. We can think, we can try. But you looking at Tom Brady, nobody in their right mind thinks Tom Brady has outplayed my homeboy and Aaron Rodgers.
I do.
You ain't in your right mind. That's what I said. Nobody.
Mahomes remains one of the most electric passers in the NFL, Pro Football Focus concludes, but his overall efficiency has taken a step back since last season. And don't get me started on Carson Wentz, who's down here at 12.
Yeah.
Let this sink in. There's only been 2 players in the history of the game that's thrown for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in the same season. And he was slightly on that pace before he got injured. How does a guy play 2.5 games fewer but have more touchdowns than Tom Brady if he's that guy?
Did you see Tom Brady in the second half at Houston Sunday night?
He
put on a show.
Skip,
you'd already closed your book. You said, I got him.
Skip.
Off the first half. He looked horrible. I got him. Wait a second. He's still throwing. What did he throw for? 352? God.
Skip, he threw for 326. But that's neither here nor there. How many of those came when the game was nip and tuck? He had what, 187?
Brandon Bolden got his hands on the onside kick, or Brady might have pulled off another miracle down there in that stadium.
I know what he pulled off.
Yeah.
You saw where he looked. Yeah. What did Colin Worth say about those throwaways at Tom Brady? They're starting to go up. What did he say, Skip? What did he say about the throwaways?
Well, he says, boy, he's got no weapons.
Nobody
can separate.
No weapons.
No separation.
Now he gets no separation. You see? No,
help me out. I keep telling you.
Skip, these were the same guys that he threw to last year, minus Gronk.
They drafted N'Keal Harry in the first round. He's caught 4 balls for a grand total of 28 yards.
He's been hurt.
Okay, that's it.
What you want him to do?
Okay. Well, no weapons.
This was the same guy that threw to Deion Branch and David Gibbons and Troy Brown. All those guys. Jermaine Wiggins was his tight end. He won a Super Bowl with Jermaine Wiggins.
Boy, he could use Deion Branch right now.
Yeah. No, he couldn't.
Yes, he could.
No, he couldn't.
Give me Deion Branch in his prime, and you'd start seeing some 400 yards.
Skip, all I'm saying is, just evaluate it, not what he's doing, on what you see right now. And you see a player that's a shell of himself.
QB to
shell of
base.
himself.
They always get everyone going around
here.
here.
Well, you are going to eat some big
riled
words.
up.
You're going to eat you some shellfish.
Skip, but see, I think we're going to talk about this a little later. No. I didn't say they couldn't win because Peyton Manning. Was Peyton Manning a shell of himself? Peyton Manning could have a game. Remember Kansas City on Monday night? He went for over 300. They was down 14. He brought them back. You remember the throws that he had against New England in the NFC Championship game? Come on now, Skip. Come with me.
What are you talking about? Peyton Manning, I said, I was the first one to say, Indy is making the biggest mistake they'll ever make. That owner is making a huge mistake. And Peyton should have won 2 MVPs.
I'm talking about in his last year.
All right.
Skip.
He hit the wall. Tom hasn't hit the wall.
Skip, he's not going to get it better. He ain't getting better at 43. He's not getting better at 44. So you can get that out your head, Skip. Father time. What? Father time, there's 2 times that you don't mess with.
You know what, Shannon?
Father time and borrowed time. When they come due, they come due.
One of these years you're going to be right about
I'm
Tom
right
Brady,
this year.
One of these years.
I'm right this year.
It's the last 3 years,
Aaron
so
Rodgers,
here we go.
He had a birthday, too, the other day, so...
What times you don't mess with? Father time and borrowed time. When they come due, Skip, you got to go.
No mercy.
So the city of Los Angeles is taking the NBA by storm. It's been fun to watch. LeBron and the Lakers have won 11 of their last 12 games and sit atop the West with an 18-3 record. Meanwhile, the Clippers are right behind at 16-6 and have lost only 1 game at home all season. Both teams racked up wins last night. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. I just can't believe that we are a quarter of the way through the season already. It feels like it's flown by.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, right now, who is better, Lakers, Clippers?
Well, considering that the Broussard power rankings are coming out today,
Are they?
and in this sea of power rankings, these are the definitive power rankings.
Good to know.
I have the Lakers ranked ahead, 1 spot ahead of the Clippers. Now, I know Skip and others will probably say the Clippers' schedule has been tough. And I'll admit, no other team has a list of victims, bodies, whatever you want to call it, like the Clippers. They've beaten the Lakers, the Jazz, the Raptors, the Rockets, the Celtics, the Mavericks. Here's the thing, though. They've played more home games than any team in the league. 14 of their 22 games at home. And all those victories over those good teams, all of them were at home except Dallas. Okay, so they've had it fairly easy. I got to admit, I was glad to see the Lakers' victory last night over Denver. That, to me, that was a defining game because they have been beaten up on the Little Sisters of the Poor. Okay. All right, they have. Yeah. But last night, they go into Denver, obviously one of the toughest places to play in the league. AD completely shuts down Nikola Jokic.
Even sick.
Yo, it was,
you know?
Yeah, right. And
I think Jokic was sick.
Nah, yeah,
he was sick of AD.
Yeah, sick of
AD. But I'm going with the Lakers. Here's a few reasons in addition. One, I think LeBron James has reestablished himself, if not the best player in the world, that's up for debate. He's the best player in that building. He is the best player in that building now. He's reestablished that.
Reestablished.
Oh.
They are the best tandem, LeBron and AD, because they're more versatile. We saw what AD did to Jokic. Who on the Clippers, and certainly not Kawhi or Paul George, can do that to Nikola Jokic, to a big man? So the fact that they have the interior defender in AD, the close to 7-footer, I think that gives them that tandem an edge. Obviously, they got depth. But here's the other thing, too. The Lakers, and I have to give them props for this, they are respecting the regular season. The Clippers, mainly Kawhi, is not. I'm sorry, and I have to give them points for respecting the regular season. I'm not one that's going to sit here and, talk about LeBron or castigate LeBron for playing hard in the regular season. We praise Michael Jordan for doing that.
Especially somebody I know. I ain't calling no names, Skip Bayless.
And now
No names.
LeBron is respecting the regular season. AD played through shoulder, elbow, ribs. Last night
was
flew
sick,
like
yeah.
Flu-like
symptoms.
symptoms.
Took an IV.
You know somebody else would have sat out down the hall.
No doubt.
And so I'm giving the Lakers the edge. They're the best team right now.
Go ahead. You chop it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you realize that once again last night at Denver, LeBron James played almost the entire fourth quarter? It was all 11-19, so he took a few seconds off, and it was by far the most minutes played of anybody on his team or anybody in the entire basketball game. He's in his 17th year, and this is classic tortoise hare argument, because the tortoise is going to catch the hare, because the tortoise is Kawhi, because he's load managing for April, May, and June. And LeBron is going all out trying to steal an MVP in his 17th year, because he now leads the NBA in shot attempts in the fourth quarter. Why is that? Because a lot of nights he's just stuffing through garbage time. He's playing 12 minutes in the fourth quarter against Atlanta. Seriously.
He loves the game.
Okay, he loves the game. He loves those numbers that he's putting up, because he's taking a bunch of shots.
You ain't said nothing about Tom Brady. You ain't said anything about Tom Brady throwing in the fourth quarter.
Well, it's different who load manages in pro football. Nobody does.
Can I ask you something? Because I think I know how your brain works with LeBron. Do you think that he is going all out to win the MVP, and if it costs him in the playoffs, he has an excuse? I don't believe that. I know you don't. But do you think he's doing that, and if he runs, he has an excuse that he can say,
back with the
I
chip
played
on his
too
shoulder
hard?
because everybody said he was washed.
Washed.
So he's the hashtag Wash King. Watch this, said the Wash King.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, and it's great.
Yeah.
Man. He's been sensational.
Say it.
And if you want to take that crown right now, you can have your crown
No.
at the quarter pole. He is cruising for a bruising, a literal bruising, because he is, I'm knocking on wood for him because I don't like to wish
Thank
this
you.
on anybody, but he is asking for injury trouble down the stretch, because you can't keep doing this.
What is Kawhi asking for? Because he low managing on the court. What was five of?
He's asking for freshness.
You got to admit this, Skip. Kawhi, they better win it this year, right? Because if he load manages like this and they don't win the championship,
When he hasn't load managed. He load managed all through his San Antonio
Yeah,
time.
but
Go look at all the
now,
games he
I
didn't
get
play.
it, but
he load managed through Toronto last year and they won the championship.
Right, and so that's why people gave him a pass. But if he load manages this year and they don't win it, I think people are going to be like, look, play 82 or, try to play as many games as you can like everybody else.
Hey, what this team, you can have it at the quarter pole. I'll give you that. And I told him earlier, Anthony Davis has made a case. He is the defensive player of the year so far. We got a long way to go. 3/4 of an 82-game season left to play. But he has been, to me, both defensive player of the year and MVP so far, because this team is way better than I thought it would
MVP of
be.
the league.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, to me, he's just dominating. What he did to Jokic last night was shocking. Because Jokic against my Spurs in the first round of the playoffs last year went 7 games, and we couldn't deal with him. We're sending 3 guys at him.
Right.
They sent 1 guy at him, and 1 guy sent him home. Like he was the little sister of the poor last night.
When you got the big
right?
security guard, you don't need extra security.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? You get the more big mouths of you. Hey,
Seriously.
hell that.
I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. If I had just turned on that game watching the Denver Nuggets for the first time, I would have said, who is that guy? He doesn't belong in the league. No, seriously, he looked unathletic, slow, and completely in over his head. He was throwing balls in the 7th row like he was so overwhelmed. He was psychologically taken out of the game by Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Wow.
And guess what? That means Paul George Paul George or Kawhi gonna have to guard him.
Yep.
Paul George or Kawhi gonna have to guard AD.
Don't you think they're gonna put Harold on?
Yeah.
Harold don't start. You gonna start Harold?
Zubac, yeah. Well, no, but when he's
Well, who's Zubac? What you gonna do with JaVale? You know we got them skyscrapers.
you talking about I thought you were talking about guarding Jokic.
Yeah. No.
Shannon,
Lakers.
You're missing the point. There is a behemoth in the basement at Staples. A behemoth. It is a 7-headed monster, and it can defend like the Lakers never thought about defending as a unit, as a team.
Yeah.
Because I love what Doc said last night. He said they played Portland at home, obviously. At halftime, we didn't make any adjustments. We said something's going to have to give here. We either start defending or we're really going to have a long night. And Montrez said after the game, we just decided we're going to impose our will on them on the defensive end in the 3rd quarter and create havoc. And they did. It was 27-17 Clippers over Blazers in the 3rd quarter, and the game was over. Because they just took CJ and Dame out of everything they can do. They're just lost out there. The arms are too long.
The perimeter, Skip, those are perimeter players, and when the shots aren't falling, it's going to be difficult for Portland to get points.
When they can't get the shots off.
But when you got AD, dump it down. You know LeBron can play with his back to the basket too, right?
Hey.
You know LeBron, Skip, history shows us what LeBron does to Paul George.
Do you think he can back Kawhi down?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's see
But he'll go by. See, that's the thing. They're great defenders, no question. But they don't defend at the rim. Like LeBron has had trouble historically with 7-footers at the rim. Even Roy Hibbert to a degree in Indiana. They don't have that.
Zubats ain't bad.
We flush on Zubac.
But he's going to treat him like, who was that? Was in Portland? Was that Jokic?
No, it was Nurkic.
Or Nurkic. Nurkic, yeah. He's going to treat him like...
He's going to get Portal next time.
Yeah.
But
he goes after that. That's his type. That's his type.
But you remember, that's why Golden State got JaVale McGee. Remember, they inserted JaVale McGee into the starting lineup.
Right.
You better be careful.
Protection at the rim.
He's my guy.
Okay.
Love saying his name.
He can leap. He took James Harden right out of the game.
Not a good stat.
James had a shot to win the game at the end of regulation. It went 2 overtimes, and he knocked it into the 20th row.
Yeah.
It was a great block.
That's what we're doing.
Way to go.
I'm just trying to figure out how have you ever seen the best player on the planet not be in the MVP conversation at the quarter pole?
He's in the conversation.
Kawhi in no conversation.
Okay, but we got...
He's talking Kawhi.
So you got Kawhi's
No,
best player?
that's what everybody been telling us. You know everybody been telling us that.
Kawhi has sacrificed regular season awards.
He doesn't care.
He's not going to be first team All-NBA. He's not going even in the thought for an MVP. And all the rest, defensive player of the year.
Honestly, if he's not playing, he shouldn't be up.
No, right. So he's giving all that up
the
for
cigar
the
at the end of the year. Huh?
He better light it again. That's all I'm saying.
It ain't like nothing. It's going to be one of the more trick cigars going to blow up in his face.
And everyone else is doing something else. Which
what's he on pace for? About
I'm surprised Skip has let it go, but that's just me.
We're in early December, and you're celebrating like you just won it all. Yes, you are.
All my guy is doing is what I've seen him do for the previous 16 years.
My guys are positioning themselves to win the championship. Your guy is positioning himself. He hopes to win MVP in his 7th year.
We're going to take sweepstakes. We greedy.
Fun season.
We greedy. We're going to take sweepstakes.
Chris, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
No mercy.
Guys, today it's a special day. Skip's birthday, so on behalf of everyone, Undisputed, Fox Sports, Shannon and I, happy birthday,
Oh,
Skip.
thank you very much.
Hope you have a great day.
What'd you get him for your birthday?
What did I get?
What did you get us?
Oh, get you? That's how you look.
Wait, there's
They
more.
got a drip Bayless cake.
Lord have
Stop.
mercy.
Oh, drip.
Wow, it's a drip
Bayless
cake.
And it's,
Wow.
It's literally dripping. That's incredible.
And
well done.
Shannon gets to eat the biggest piece. He'll eat about half of
It
that.
should have been happy birthday drip.
I know you're a healthy guy,
it.
Skip, but you gotta try a bite of the drip cake, right? You're gonna have to just.
They
I
did a
think
good
it's
job.
sugar-free. That's what
Yo, okay, sugar.
Either way,
Okay, sugar-free.
happy birthday,
Thank
Skip.
you very
And how
much.
about we talk a little bit about Tom Brady? I feel
How
like
about
that's appropriate. After the Patriots suffered their second loss of the season, doubters are coming from everywhere. Despite leading the league in pass attempts, Tom Brady ranks 29th in completion percentage. Jared Bell of USA Today says it would be a big mistake to write off Brady and the Patriots after they've proven again and again and again that they are capable of producing wins and rings. Patriots safety Devin McCourty echoed this sentiment, saying that it doesn't matter how you win this time of year. The good teams find ways to win. So, Shannon, do you agree that you shouldn't overlook Tom Brady and the Patriots?
I do. You shouldn't overlook them. They're 10-2. They're probably going to be, at worst case scenario, I believe they'll be the number 2 seed. At worst case, number 1. Possibly they could be the number 1 seed if Buffalo, if Baltimore slips up, because they got a tough road, Skip. They still have to go to where they are, Buffalo. I think Buffalo in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And
now.
This week. Yeah. They still got Cleveland, who beat them early in the year.
Yep.
So their schedule is not getting any easier. But here's the thing. All I'm saying is that this team is not going to the Super Bowl based on riding Tom Brady's arm. That's all I'm saying. Okay. This team is a defensive-based football team, like that team with 5-time league MVP Peyton Manning. They were a defensive football team, and Peyton could make enough throws in crucial moments to get them over the hump. See, people just are saying now, oh, Brady will show it when it really matters. Like he's choosing to play bad. Like he's choosing to have a 29th in completion percentage. Like he's choosing to have the 19th best QBR. Like he's choosing to have 26 air distance on passes. No, he's not choosing to play bad. He can't help it. He cannot help it. So, but see, what they're basing it on is Skip Bayless. If he wins the Super Bowl, what I tell you? They won the Super Bowl last year. Tell me Tom Brady played good. Tell me he played good. They scored 13 points.
Shannon, he's up against his nemesis, Wade Phillips. He's always had trouble with Wade Phillips' defense.
Who was Barry?
It was the hottest defense in pro football last year at that time.
Who was Barry Bonds' nemesis? It didn't matter. Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, Kurt Schilling. It did not matter. If you're what they say you are, to the fence. Over the fence. If Tom Brady is what you said, it doesn't matter. Tom Brady shouldn't have a nemesis. He had at that point in time, Skip, he had 5 Super Bowls. There shouldn't be no nemesis. Remember, he's what is his guru? What's his guru name, Skip? The guy,
Tom House.
No, not Tom House. The one that works with him all the time. The TV
Alex Guerrero.
Alex Guerrero.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tom, his mind just slows down, and everything is at a standstill. So Tom Brady's mind should be on a standstill. He should have known where the guys were coming from when he threw that pick on the opening series in the Super Bowl. Skip, he had a 27 QBR. I'm not saying Tom Brady can't make throws, because he can, and he might put together a drive or two. But this team is not going to go to the Super Bowl based on Tom Brady's arm. You know that. Everybody else knows that. But we don't want our heroes, Skip. We hate our heroes to die slow, painful death.
I point out to all of our faithful viewers out there that Shannon Sharpe has been making this speech for 3 years on this show. We're into our 4th year on this show, and he's still making the speech, trying to triple down on it, quadruple down on it. And you've been wrong every time, and you're going to be wrong again this year. And that's what Garrett Bell, our friend from USA Today, was writing about. You just can't write him off, and you can't write them off. And I give you both Belichick and Brady, but you can't write them off. You will not find, I'm going to address your Barry Bonds analogy. You will not find a bigger Barry Bonds fan than I am. But I covered Barry Bonds in the Bay Area, so I know it inside and out. Barry Bonds was a postseason disappointment because he couldn't lift and carry a team by virtue of he wasn't a pitcher. He couldn't lift them to World Series. They got to one and they lost it. And I heap most of the blame on Dusty Baker for pulling a pitcher. It's a long story in the 7th inning.
But Browns without his mind in that series
he had a huge series. But I covered other playoffs when he was not out of his mind. So when
especially
you say, if you're that man, you do that. Well, he didn't do that enough in the postseason. He's simply the greatest hitter I ever saw. You can make a case he was the greatest overall player, especially in his prime when he was winning 8 straight Gold Gloves.
Correct.
Didn't have much of an arm, but it was an accurate arm, and it was reasonable. It was decent.
Played
it was
shallow left field,
functional.
And he
and he could run and he could steal bases in his prime until he got big.
Yes.
When he got big, he wasn't that guy anymore, but it didn't really matter because no one has ever had a year like he had in the 73 home run.
We had a couple of years like that, Skip.
But he was obliterating Babe Ruth's record for on-base
OPS slugging, yes.
It was unbelievable. But now back to Tom Brady. I'm not going to write them off, but I will tell you, I am concerned because this is the first time I've ever said gee, I'm not sure even Tom Brady can turn this offense around because I don't see a fix here. I don't see how somebody's underperforming who will suddenly figure it out.
Switch.
It's either Julian Edelman or bust, James White or bust. And again, you look at the catches. Julian's caught 82. James White is second on the list at 57 of the Patriot receivers. You have to go all the way down to Dorsett at 28 to get to the next wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's just not enough
That's
firepower.
a huge discrepancy.
Okay? Like it's so out of balance. And by the way, Julian Edelman is no spring chicken. Right?
Right.
He's getting up there in years and
Right.
hits that he's taken, and he takes a bunch of hits, man.
Right. But Skip, he can play that position because he's still,
I know.
he doesn't have that end line, but he's still got that dart, that start quickness. And it works really well.
He better have it.
And he has
because-
a wavelength with Tom Brady that's second to none.
So he's got 54 more catches than the next wide receiver. And I told you earlier, the tight ends as a group, the three of them, they've got 26 total balls. That's dead last in the NFL. They've caught one touchdown. That's dead last in the NFL for a tight end position.
Well, Skip, the thing is that once Gronk went away, they don't have a guy that can just take the game over. Gronk is a guy that can take the game over. He can dominate. You have to find a way. Says, okay, who's going to beat us other than Gronk? Because I'm taking Gronk away. Well, I think now you need to go into a game says, I'm going to take Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman will be first, and then I'm going to do what I can on James White. But I am not going to let Julian Edelman keep moving the chains on me. Because, Skip, he's not a big touchdown maker. He's not a guy that's going to end up with 12, 13 touchdowns. Most slot receivers don't. Every once in a while, you get a slot receiver like a Brandon Stokely have 10 or 11, or Wes Welker have 10 or 11. But for the most part, those guys are chain movers. They're going to be high on the third down as far as grabbing first downs, but not touchdowns.
Twice the other night, Tom Brady tried to go Julian Edelman deep on double coverage.
Yes.
How many times have you seen Julian run under a 60-yard pass?
Right. Especially, Skip, he's a 5'10"?
Yeah.
5'10" guy in the double coverage. That's what you do for Megatron or Julio, guys that have great leaping ability.
Okay, so they have a potential Megatron. This is like just potential only. I'm not saying he's ever going to be close, but they got N'Keal Harry in the first round from Arizona State.
Right.
Been hurt all year. He played his third game on Sunday night. Tom threw him one ball and then, I think, just doghoused him and said that's enough of that because he didn't come hard enough for it or fight hard enough for it. So he's caught now 4 total balls for 28 total yards. That's the only X factor where I'd say if he could figure it out and they could get on a wavelength, maybe that would help. I misspoke earlier. I said they were 24th in rushing. They're 21st, which isn't much better.
Okay.
But Tom has not had the running attack he had in the postseason to take some focus and pressure off the passing game.
I don't think they were this bad running the football last year. Now, they weren't what they were in the postseason, Skip, granted. But see, the thing was, you get so concerned about his ability to throw the football that you play them with nickel or dime defense, and then they run you off the field.
Romeo played 6 DBs most of the game.
Dime.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
6 DBs and you can't run it?
Because I don't respect James White running the football, Michelle, Burkhead.
And why Sony Michel got doghouse the other night.
Yes.
They took him out the whole second half. They were running the ball with James White.
It's going to make life very difficult for Tom Brady, Skip. If they can play you in dime, which is 6 DBs, and you can't run the ball on them, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be tough sledding.
Now you can double both the two guys.
You
You can double James and Julian.
And because you're not really worried, I mean, you play a lot of cover 5 because you're not really worried about Tom Brady going in with Skip.
Nope.
I mean, think about how clear the side was for him to get 17 yards. Now, if that's Lamar Jackson or Deshaun, Skip, they might get 50 yards on that play. But you're not going to play that coverage because you're not worried about Tom going anywhere.
Okay, so I know Kansas City isn't a whole lot better on defense, but they do have Steve Spagnuolo.
Okay.
And he was the kryptonite for Tom Brady in that 07 Super Bowl. And he does have some blueprint in his head, as Wade Phillips did, for this is how I can maybe not stop him, but bother him. I can bother him.
But Skip, see, what he doesn't have that they had, when they went to their jet package, they kicked Tuck inside.
They did.
And they put it with Canty. They had OC on one side and they had Stray on the other.
That'll do it.
And they says, look, they got to double team somebody. Whoever gets the single, you got to get home.
Yep.
And that's what they did.
He does not have that.
Right. Exactly.
No mercy.
The Cowboys have lost 3 of their last 4, including an embarrassing home loss on Thanksgiving to the Bills. That prompted Dak Prescott to say yesterday that he hates losing more than he likes winning. But the Cowboys have still held on to first place in the NFC East, thanks in part to the Eagles' 5-7 record after they lost to the Dolphins on Sunday. So now joining us, Fox Sports NFL analyst Mark Schlereth. Mark, I think it's important for us to get your take on this one.
Okay.
A popular debate around here: who wins the NFC East?
Somebody has to win it, right?
Yeah.
They do.
They're not gonna just basically say bypass it.
And somebody gets a home playoff game.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Who wins the NFC? I'm going to go. Philadelphia wins the NFC East, and there are a lot of things you can look at both teams. There are a lot of issues with both teams. I'm going to say something I've said for the last I've been doing TV for 19 years. For the last 19 years, the organizational structure of the Dallas Cowboys eliminates them from winning anything.
You could be right.
And I've said this for 19 years. When you don't, Shannon and I played for Mike Shanahan. Love Mike Shanahan. Mm-hmm. Mike Shanahan's been a mentor. Mike Shanahan is a great friend. There's a certain fear factor that has to be present with your head coach. I talked about this yesterday. Sometimes, as a Christian guy, people say, well, why does the Bible say the fear of the Lord? Back then in the Greek, the fear of the Lord was about awesome reverence for the Lord. That meant awesome respect. You have to have that for your coach,
sure.
But you damn well better also be afraid of him. So when your coach says something, you better understand that he means it, and if you don't adhere to what he's talking about, you will be fired. Right? Yeah. And we had that in Denver.
Absolutely.
They don't have that. If you don't like what Jason Garrett says, you just walk over to the owner and say, man, this is not right, and the owner changes it. And until that organizational structure changes, the Dallas Cowboys will never win squat. Do I think they're talented? The more talented, they've got a better roster. I think all those things are true. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win the division.
Yep.
Were you afraid of Mike Shanahan?
Oh, yeah, because here's the thing, Skip. The thing is I know when you had Mike was also the GM, which is very unique. You don't see that very often. Everybody that was in that meeting room, and he let you know, you're here because I want you here. It ain't nobody, the GM wanted you and I didn't, but you're still here. See, Skip, the thing is with the players, they know they're there not because of Jason wanted them, because of Jerry wanted them. So I can just bypass. You can't fire me because you didn't hire me. You got to dump the trash somewhere, Jenny. You got 2 trash cans. You got to put the trash in one of them because this is what we got here. Trash division and 2 trash teams. I hate to say that about your Eagles, but you're trash.
The Beagles.
Stop saying that. The Cowboys are not winning the division. I'm going to get them 5 cases up off you. I had that. Mountain Dew, 5 cases? I got 5 cases.
It's been going for months.
Speaking of fear, I see fear in your eyes about who's going to survive in this division.
I'm not as confident as I was Friday going in because I knew we were playing the Dolphins. I said, we got us a win. And I told you, I said, Skip, we're going to be tied. Because y'all had already lost Thursday knowing that. I said, we're going to be tied. And they laid an egg.
My trash can is less full than your trash can. Your trash can has more trash in it than mine does.
Right now.
Yes.
But after Sunday, after tomorrow, Thursday, you guys play tomorrow. After you lose tomorrow and then my team wins on Sunday, guess what? Both trash are even.
It doesn't matter. Just all that matters is December 22nd.
But you're going to lose
Philadelphia.
again.
December 22nd.
We can lose again, and it's still all that matters is December 22nd.
I got to predict.
We can lose the next 2 games, and we just
crazy.
might.
You're going to lose 3 in a row, and they're going to fire Jason Garrett before the last game of the season.
Well, they will not do that, but we could lose 3 in a row, but I don't think we will because I think we are going to win this division by default. I told you after the game on Thursday on Thanksgiving, my team was done. And then I got smacked right between the eyes by an Eagles or Beagles team that is doner. It's doner. It's got all kinds of issues that even we don't have. And it starts with the quarterback who is struggling. And it starts with no connection psychologically or physically with the receiver group. And I don't understand it. And then when I least expected it, your secondary just combusted right right before your very eyes, and Fitzmagic threw a party on that secondary. And all of a sudden, sometimes these things are just meant to be. I just heard word that Danny Dimes is in a walking boot with a high ankle sprain, which means that Monday night in Philadelphia, Eli is back.
Look 'em lie.
Oh, that's hard.
That is great news for my Dallas Cowboys, because I promise you, Eli has a much better shot at pulling off an upset at Philly than Danny Dimes does as a rookie quarterback.
No mobility.
Want to bet? Want to bet? I looked up Eli's record, and he's 6-8 at Philadelphia. At least he has some success there. It's been a while since he's had success.
Right.
But I still, listen, just this year, game 1 at Dallas, Eli played pretty well. He was 30 of 44 for 306, 1 touchdown and no interceptions. Does that sound pretty good to you?
Sound pretty good.
Okay. And again, it's their guy, and they want to hitch their star to the wagon of Danny Dimes. And so this new regime said, we're going with our guy. And then remember, they're beating their chest about it. Well, where are those critics now?
Don't ask us what we think, because we know what we thought of him. That's why we selected him.
Why don't you ask those critics what they think? Well, I know what I think. Eli, I would give a shot of winning a Monday night game at Philly against a reeling Eagles team that isn't sure what it is. And if he comes out with a hot hand, have we not seen Eli get hot-handed on road in big games?
He's been on ice for a long time, Skip. Yeah. When is the last time you saw a veteran player spend this much time on the bench, Stink, and then all of a sudden come in and then throw a party in somebody's building?
Does he know how? Yes, he does.
He forgot.
Will he be afraid? No, he will not be.
If he didn't forget how, guess what? Danny Dimes wouldn't be there. He forgot how to win. That's why Danny Dimes.
That's the pride of Dave Gettleman saying, watch this, I got my guy.
No. Even if they don't select Daniel Jones, they select somebody.
This is not so much about the Giants, whether it's Eli or whether it's Dan. This is about the Philadelphia Eagles figuring out what their rhythm is at the end of the season, figuring out, I understand offensively, you can't give up 37 points to the Miami Dolphins. But this is, to me, is you've got to figure out what you are as an offense. They've had injuries. They've gone through different players. They've had different backfields. Carson's been good, then he's not been great. And then, they've had up and down. It's about finding out what your rhythm is and then adhering to it, whatever your identity is. And they've had an identity issue because of the injuries to the quarterback, and then all of a sudden Nick Foles comes in the last couple of years and plays well at the end of the season. They've got to figure out, this is our identity, this is what we're going with, and sell that to their guys. Now that Alshon Jeffrey is back after a couple of weeks, and he had a big week last week, they've got to get that done so that this offense can be the thing that actually leads them forward.
Bottom line for me, I trust my quarterback more than your quarterback. My quarterback willed my team to the playoffs and a playoff win last year, and he's about to do the same thing.
I trust my owner and head coach more than I trust your owner.
They can't play.
They
cannot play.
But your guys ain't going to get the ball in the end zone.
You know what? My team loves to play at Philly. My team is really good in Philly. So I would trust them to win that game more than I would at Chicago or against the Rams.
Talk to me in 3 weeks and see how you still feel.
We'll be talking a lot.
Yeah,
we will definitely chat about it. We will have Mark back before then as well. Mark, good stuff. Always appreciate your time.
No mercy.
Following the Texans' 28-22 win over the Patriots, DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Gilmore have gone back and forth on Twitter. DeAndre said he should be doubled whenever he's on the field. Then Gilmore shot back, saying that DeAndre was only doubled 2 plays in the entire game. They've gone back and forth. So, Shannon, whose side are you on?
I'm right with D-Hop. Gilmore, you've been shutting guys out. You've been blanketing guys. Give it up. Yeah, you say, well, he on the car. I kept him out of the end zone. But 4 of his 5 passes went for first downs. You couldn't get him off the field. And I'll skip, to know exactly how many times he was doubled, I would have to go back and look at the game tape, and I would need to see. But I did see on one occasion, they call it robber now. We used to call it lurk. They're playing cover 3, they're playing man coverage, and you see Devin McCourty come down to jump a slant or the end-breaking route. So I did see one, but it didn't matter. He caught 4 first downs on his 5 catches. You can't ask for any more than that. So I'm going to say D-Hop won this round. You might get an opportunity to revisit it. But Gilmore, give it up, bro. Just like when you pounded your chest and how you shut him out, you notice he wasn't in that press coverage against D-Hop like he was against Amari Cooper. He got the utmost respect for D-Hop.
Different physicality and different mindset.
Yeah, D-Hop, that dog.
He is that dog. I would agree. And I have high respect for both of these guys, but the New England Sports Network said it did break down the coach's tape and that it did find only twice in 56 defensive snaps that they actually doubled DeAndre Hopkins, actually doubled him twice. That there were versions of all kinds of things going on, and it's hard because that defense is so versatile.
Right.
It's so multiple that it's hard to know exactly if he was completely alone on him every time, but whatever. That's pretty impressive. And obviously, and unfortunately for me and my team, Stephon set the bar so high the game before. He shut out Amari Cooper. He shut him out.
Yeah.
He took him psychologically out of the game to where in one series, Amari goes over and he's like pouting on the sideline, like I can't get open.
Put his jacket on.
Really? Put his jacket on. Well, what are you doing?
Right. But Skip, the thing is, like, look, when you're the shutdown corner, when you said, okay, I'm that guy. I'm in the role of Deion Sanders. I'm the Darrell Reeves, the Rod Woodson, all those guys that lock it up one-on-one. Bro, just, hey, he got me. He got the best of me. His team won. He caught some passes.
I hear you about the first downs, but still, 5 for 64 is pretty great against that guy.
Skip.
In that building, with that crowd.
He had 5 targets. He caught 4 of them. I mean, he caught, and they went 4 to 5. We caught, how many targets did he have? But he got 4 first downs.
Okay, I got you. But was he a difference maker? Did he change that? Did he tilt the playing field?
What it did is that it kept them on the field so they get 3 more cracks at you to get the ball in the end zone. That's what it did do. Because when they throwing the ball to Amari on 3rd down, now we're off the field, we're punting. D-Hop is a different type of an animal. And the thing that also you have to worry about, they got other guys. They got Stills, they got Fuller the fifth. Skip, Coach Belichick has a simple philosophy. Hold. They're not going to call it. We're going to put the onus on them. We're going to make you call it. Are they going to call it every single play? But you did see on a couple of possessions, they got Jones in back-to-back possessions of holding. I'm going to the officials every time, watch the DBs. They do more clutching and holding and grabbing than what is allowed. I'm going to plant that seed like Coach Belichick planted that seed about tripping on the Cowboys' offensive lineman.
Okay, here's the point about this. How many other teams who have played the Houston Texans have doubled him if this is in fact the case?
A lot.
Only twice.
Yeah.
Only twice. Yeah. Every other team that's played them might have doubled him 20 times.
Well, the ones that didn't, he went for $150 and a bunch of touchdowns on them. So
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Skip, that's unbelievable. I mean, you did good, but his team did get 28 points. And they got the dub.
Okay, but still, I'm not going to place the blame on him because I think he did his part. Again, the long ball, the home runs were thrown against single coverage.
And the thing is, Skip, I'm a firm believer. I don't need to we're going to show you we can throw the ball on Gilmore. I'm going to get them other guys because they're not Stephon Gilmore. You don't get 12 points for scoring a touchdown on Gilmore and only get 6 for scoring one on the other guys. You get the same amount of points. So if I can get the ball, Skip, we played the Cowboys when they had Deion. We didn't throw at Deion not one time. But those other jokers, we ate them up. You know, I went for 6 for a 99 in the first half on the 2 times.
How do you remember that?
I don't know. We had 5 possessions, Jenny. We had 35 points in the first half.
You remember everything.
Coach might say, hey, call the dogs off. I want to get that 100 on them.
I just have a feeling you wouldn't go back and forth on social media, though. Back
I
in your day.
would.
Had that been
Check
you
the
would
tape.
have?
Check the tape.
Okay. Well, never
the
mind
tape.
then. Thought better of you.
No mercy.
LeBron James dropped 25 points in the Lakers' 105-96 win over the Nuggets last night. LA will now travel to Utah to play in the high-altitude back-to-back tonight against the Jazz, who are 8-1 at home this season. So, Shannon, what do you expect from your guy, LeBron?
I expect LeBron to play. No load management for the best player in the NBA. That's what I expect.
That's not smart.
Yeah, I expect customary, routine, garden variety. 25, 11, and 7 at the bare minimum.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say 28, 12, and 6.
Really?
Yep.
That's all?
28, 12, and 6. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day,
Kind of an off night for the
a dub.
Really?
A dub. I bet he won't shoot 20% from the floor. Bet that.
LeBron James is obviously hell-bent to prove he ain't washed.
He ain't.
He is hell-bent to put Kawhi Leonard back in his place because of that ad that said it's Kawhi Town now and show that he doesn't need no load management. He's going to play. He'll probably play every minute tonight just to show Kawhi I don't load manage.
We don't.
I got big numbers for LeBron in back-to-back. I say he goes 30, 10, and 14. That's what I got.
Wow.
10 rebounds, 14 assists, 30. This will be, watch me MVP night against a Utah team that has been a big disappointment.
No.
Yep.
I don't want to hear that now.
Yep.
When you talk about,
Big disappointment.
What about when they played them last time? You talk about they missing Bogdanovich. They got Bogey.
Second game
They
of
got
the year.
Bogey. Where
Yep.
Bogey? They got him now.
Yeah.
So I want to hear that.
Bogey man.
Will he play? We'll have to wait and see.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.